guy was the president of the United States. There wasn't a single request to remove or even censor or throttle any of his political opposition. So it's not just what you see. What does that tell you? It tells you two things. People on the right, we actually believe what we say we believe. We don't want censorship. We don't want people being removed. And it tells you that Donald Trump, just like us, this is why we say, fine, we don't care if we're monetized. We just want an equal playing field when Twitter decided to ban President Trump. The suspension declared after close review of recent tweets from the real Donald Trump account and the context around them, specifically how they are being received and interpreted on and off Twitter. We have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of, quote, further incitement to violence. Now, keep in mind that this was the tweet. Do we have the tweet from Donald Trump? Yeah, let me read this right here. That caused the shitstorm. Incitement to violence. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. He said, that's the ending, but he said, these are the things and events that happen when these are the things, sorry, you won't know if I don't. Yeah. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long, which we now know. Of course, badly and unfairly treated. You see it right now. Go home with love and peace. Like the alien from The Simpsons, Mr. Burns. Remember this day forever. Go home with love and peace. Twitter removed his account for, quote, further incitement of violence.
He's quoting Stalin.
Yes. Show me one example. Now, here's the thing. You can say there's an interpretation because he was saying the election was stolen, which, by the way, you've seen from Hillary Clinton. You've seen from Amy Klobuchar. This is something that has been said by people on the left, both preemptively and after the 2016 election, right, that it was stolen by the Russians. So if you want to consider that an incitement to violence, okay, I don't think you have a leg to stand on. Find me one example, Twitter, one of Donald Trump calling anyone to violence. Go. Because we can show you exactly where he called people to peace. Go home and love and peace. Remember this day forever. You may not like that he said the election was stolen. You may not like that he said mail-in voting is more prone to fraud. You liked it when people on the left said it. Find me one example ever of Donald Trump calling people to violence throughout his presidency. And don't do the stand by with the Proud Boys thing, which again is something taken out of context. Don't do the very fine people on both sides, because he said, I'm not talking about neo-Nazis who should be condemned totally. We've shown you that clip ad nauseum. I'm not going to show it to you today. Find me one example that is as clear as go home and love and peace. Find me the take to the streets in rage and war. Find me the equivalent to Kamala Harris discussing the rioters. They're not going to stop, and they shouldn't stop. Find me the equivalent from Donald Trump, if you're going to say incitement to violence. That is the yang to the yings. Go home in love and peace. That's why the man was removed.
Yeah.
The then sitting president.
I can't believe that was their justification for this. Again, looking for a reason to get rid of somebody and then hoping that your policies come up with a way to make it happen.
Yeah. Right.
That's all it was.
Well, one person says this guy is going to steal the election, and the other one says we're worried that there could be some tampering with mail-in, and the one that you take it away from is the latter. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Well, it also broke, by the way, with Twitter's policy, their own policy in several ways. So let me give you an example. Twitter said that it didn't attempt to determine, quote, political interpretations of tweets. That's what they said. That was their policy.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah, they interpreted go home in love and peace as, he's telling people to go get their mortars.
Yes. Riot.
Yes.
Love and peace.
Mostly peaceful riots.
Mostly love.
Mostly $2 billion in damages, peaceful riots. They also completely disregarded their public interest exceptions rule that here's, again, all the references will be made available at loudofcutter.com. Link in the description. I highly recommend you read all of this because we will never have enough time to get through all of it. This is their public interest exceptions rule. It says, at present, we limit exceptions to one critical type of public interest content, tweets from elected and government officials, given the significant public interest in knowing and being able to discuss their actions and statements. Another employee, by the way, was talking about this on an internal Slack channel, which is why we don't use Slack. Every time there's a dump or a hack, it's Slack.
Yeah.
Which they're like, well, you can't hack this. Like, what if I take a picture of my computer screen? I forgot Snapchat. I forgot about the picture phones.
What's really sad is it took a fairly moderate, richest man in the world for any of this information to even come out.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, we wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
So Yoel Roth, by the way, was responding to an employee on the internal Slack channel. We'll talk about him tomorrow. This is what he said about Trump's account. In this specific case, we are changing our public interest approach for his account to say any violation would result in suspension.
Wow.
We aren't completely getting rid of the public interest approach. Again, we're not getting rid of it. Just in this specific case, we are changing our public interest approach to say that there was a violation. And the violation was what? Incitement to violence. The tweet that resulted in incitement to violence, go home and love and peace. Do you live in a free country? Do you live in a country with free and fair elections? If these people said, we are going to remove this sitting, we are going to remove this man. We are going to throttle his tweets. We're going to label them. We are going to eliminate the amplification. People won't be able to retweet. People won't be able to share. Leading into an election. And by the way, before you try and do the whole both sides bullshit, this is something important, which kind of shocked us.
Yeah.
Because we know that there are rhino wieners out there. I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative. I don't do the whole, centrist. No, I'm a conservative. I'm not necessarily a Republican because I know a lot of Republicans and I don't like them. That being said, this is important to note. Tybee, he wrote, examining the entire enforcement Slack channel, we didn't see one reference to moderation requests from the Trump campaign, the Trump White House, or Republicans in general. We looked. They may exist. We were told that they do. However, they were absent here. So think about that for a second. The fascist is the guy who is saying, go home and love and peace, and saying, hey, we need more transparency in our elections. This guy was the president of the United States. There wasn't a single request to remove or even censor or throttle any of his political opposition. So it's not just what you see. What does that tell you? It tells you two things. People on the right, we actually believe what we say we believe. We don't want censorship. We don't want people being removed. And it tells you that Donald Trump, just like us, this is why we say, fine, we don't care if we're monetized. We just want an equal playing field. When it's an equal playing field, the ideas win. The best case scenario for Donald Trump was no one to be removed. And for people to be able to do what we're doing right now, contrasting the left and the right and coming to the truth. That's what it tells you. The confidence is what matters there because they know that their ideas stand on their own. The left has no... Now you see with this administration, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, they require the elimination of voices of opposition. We talk about Arizona. Katie Hobbs just didn't debate Kari Lake. One person says, let's debate. And by the way, this isn't some anonymous Twitter person. I get it. You can't debate everybody. Mike Tyson doesn't fight the Golden Gloves runner-up from Missouri. I understand that. These are two people neck and neck running for governor of Arizona. Kari Lake, Katie Hobbs. One's the Secretary of State who determines the protocols for the election. No debate. I don't want to give a platform to, let's just call it hate. Donald Trump was itching to debate. That guy lived for it. Never once said silence political opposition. The left, do it all the time. Not one example. That is very telling. When people say both sides are the same, they are not the same. Well, they are not even remotely.
Just remember everything that was being said about Donald Trump that was factually inaccurate too. If anybody had a claim to say, "Hey, you have to take this kind of stuff down because that's not true," rewind the tape 12 seconds, 15 seconds. You see, I'm saying not neo-Nazis, and yet every single newsroom in the world is running. Find people on both sides that I'm supporting white supremacists, right? He had every Russia collusion, right? Spying on his campaign. He had every right to reach out to these companies and say, hey, take this stuff down.
Right.
Right? The election. Every right to take this stuff down. And he did none of it.
Yeah. Think about that where he says, go home and love and peace.
Yeah.
And they go, this is hate speech. This is incitement to violence. Yeah. Removed.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
It's so badly, too, that they want to prevent more of it.
Right. Exactly. They want to prevent more of it. Meanwhile, no one from that camp, no one from that White House, as far as we know, and certainly not to the same degree, but right now, not one. I know you're thinking, hey, some? No, none. Not one request during that point. While they were being beaten, while they were being kicked in the nuts. that tells you something pretty important. It's the same reason that we do things like Change My Minds. It's the same reason that we provide all references. We believe in more transparency. We believe sunlight is the best disinfectant. The left believes that you can't handle speech that may be challenging to you, so let's just label it all hate speech.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.